Good afternoon, everyone. This afternoon, we're going to be reading part of Volume 1 of a series of books called The People's Bible. This volume deals just with Genesis. I originally started reading it because I thought it would be a companion for the Bible. So my idea was, okay, I'll finish this volume and it will help me appreciate Genesis more because I'm going to read the whole book of Genesis when I'm finished. But it really just seems to be short sermons on certain sections of Genesis. But I like it. It's pretty inspirational, so I'll continue doing it, and maybe it will still give me a better appreciation of Genesis when I finally read that, which is coming because I'm halfway through this book now. And I plan to read Genesis live, just like I'm reading this book live. And maybe if you like it, you can join me. All right, well, each section starts with a quotation from the Bible, and this says Genesis 9:13, which says, "I do bestow my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of the covenant between men and the earth, the new beginning." This second beginning was in many ways, in many respects, very different from the first. There's nothing here about a garden, or a forbidden tree, or a tempting serpent. So it would appear from the letters of the narrative, yet lo, so it would appear from the letter of the narrative, yet lo, as we go on the courses of the history, we find that they are everyone here, only under different names, yet ending in precisely identical effects. So much for variety in human history. Believe me, there is no vital variety. It is all superficial and apparent. Noah, not profound and real. A beautiful sight was the altar which Noah built upon the reappearing earth. Beautiful to think that there was a church before there was a house. If you look at the first new building in the new world, you will see it expand until it becomes a sanctuary wide as the earth, and all men are gathered in loving piety within its ample walls. Sweet was the savor that rose from earth to heaven, and as the smoke curled upward to the approving sky, the primeval blessing was pronounced. The seasons were confirmed in their revolutions, and all things seemed to begin again in unclouded hope. Was there, then, a new human nature? And did God succeed better in his second experiment than in the first? No. The serpent is still here. Listen. The imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. The first temptation was from without, and the second was from within. This is the verdict of history. In the first account, we read that man was made in the image and likeness of God. In the second, we read that the imagination of his heart is evil from his youth. This, then, must be the accepted fact, and all divine interpositions must be based upon it. the first thing we learn after this solemn declaration is that there is to be no more smiting of every living thing, plainly showing the mere destruction is a failure. I do not say that destruction is undeserved or unrighteous, but that it is, as a reformative arrangement, a failure as regards the salvation of survivors. We can see men slain for doing wrong, and can in a day or two after the event do the very things which cost them their lives. It might be thought that one such flood as this would have kept the world in order forever, whereas men now doubt whether there ever was such a flood, and repeat all the sins of which the age of Noah was guilty. You would think that to see a man hanged would put an end to ruffianism forever, whereas the story goes to show that within the very shadow of the gallows men hatch the most detestable and alarming crimes. Set it down as a fact that punishment, though necessary even in its severest forms, can never regenerate the heart of man. From this point, then, we have to deal with a history, the fundamental fact of which is that all actors are as bad as they possibly can be. There is none righteous, not one. There is not just man upon the earth that doeth good. There is not a just man upon the earth that doeth good, and sinneth not. It is remarkable, however, that though God will not any more smite every living thing, he has surrounded human life with the most solemn sanctions, and surely your blood of your lives, your lifeblood, will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it, and at the hand of man, and at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. Under the old dispensation, if an ox gored a man, it was to be killed. The sovereignty of human life is with God, and secondarily with whomsoever he may appoint. This arrangement follows the account of the flood with remarkable propriety, because when human life has been destroyed on a large scale, the value of it might seem to be worthless. Why quibble about the morality of killing one man when 10,000 have been swallowed up in a flood? But God says, in effect, every human life is of great value. Every man must set great store by his own life, and every man must consider himself in a high degree responsible for the life of his brother. Of every man's brother will I require the life of man. Thus, too, he would seem to correct the notion which the destructiveness of this flood might seem to justify, that he himself is careless as to the value and destiny of human life. His answer to this must be found in his providence and his redemption. If any man would know what value is set on man by his Maker, let him study the life, the sacrifice, and the intercession of Jesus Christ. You will probably ask whether capital punishment is not enjoined as the law of states, in verse 6. Whoso sheddeth man's blood by man, shall his blood be shed, for in the image of God made he man. Wherever in civilized countries there is capital crime, there must be capital punishment. But capital punishment may mean other and more than the signification usually attached to the expression. To shut a man up in lifelong confinement is capital punishment. To imprison him for the whole term of his natural life is in reality to shed his blood. The mere manner of doing it is a trifle. The solemn and tragical fact is that the murderer is seized and held forever by the strong and righteous arm of the law. That is capital punishment, and conscience and reason conspire to proclaim it just. These solemn directions have been given about life. A covenant remarkable for beauty and tenderness is established by the Almighty. And God spake unto Noah and to his sons with him, saying, And I, behold, I establish my covenant with you, and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark, to every beast of the earth. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of the flood, neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you, for perpetual generations. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you, and every living creature of all flesh. And the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh, and the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, and I will remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, This is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is upon the earth. The covenant is that there shall not be any more a flood to destroy the earth. And the token of the covenant is the bow in the cloud. But was there not a rainbow before there was a flood? Of course there was. You do not suppose that the rainbow was made on purpose? There were rainbows. It may be thousands of ages before man was created, certainly from the time that the sun and the rain first knew each other. but old forms may be put to new uses. Physical objects may be clothed with moral meanings. The stars in heaven and the sand by the seashore may come to be unto Abraham as a family register. One day common bread may be turned into sacramental food. The ordinary wine may become as the blood of atonement. The rainbow, which was once nothing but a thing of evanescent beauty, created by the sun and the rain, henceforward became the token of a covenant, and was sacred as a revelation from heaven. When you lived in a rich English country, the song of the lark was nothing to you. It was so familiar. You had heard the dinning trill of 100 larks in the morning. But when you went out to the faraway colony, and for years did not hear the voice of a single home bird, you suddenly caught the note of a lark just brought to the land, and the tears of boyhood streamed down your cheeks as you listened to the little messenger from home. To hear it was like hearing the gospel. From that day, the lark was to you as a token of a covenant. In speaking to Noah, God did not then create the bow. He turned it into the sign of a holy bond. The fear is that we may have the bond and not the oath. We may see physical causes producing physical effects, and yet may see no moral significations passing through the common scenery of earth and sky. Cultivate the spirit of moral interpretation if you would be wise and restful. Then the rainbow will keep away the flood. The fowls of the air will save you from anxiety, and the lilies of the field will give you an assurance of tender care. Why, everything is yours. The daisy you trod upon just now was telling you that if God so clothed the grass of the field, he will much more clothe the child that bears his own image. Very beautiful is the idea of God giving us something to look at in order to keep our faith steady. He knows that we need pictures and rests and voices and signs, and these he has well supplied. We might have forgotten the word, but we cannot fail to see the bow. Every child sees it and exclaims at the sight with glad surprise. If anyone would tell the child the sweet meaning of the bow, it might move his soul to a still higher ecstasy. And so with all other things God has given us as signs and tokens, the sacred book, the water of baptism, the bread and wine, the quiet Sabbath, the house of prayer. All these have deeper meanings than are written in their names. Search for those meanings, keep them, and you will be rich. And now you say, all will be well. The spared family will be as a church of God. Noah will walk before the Lord with a reverent heart, and like his great-grandfather Enoch, will go up to heaven as the morning dew goes up to the sun. Alas, it is not so. Noah began to be a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard, and he drank wine and was drunken. You cry, shame, and go out and do exactly the same thing. You said that if you were spared in a certain affliction, you would be a good man ever after. You were spared, and there is not a meaner soul on earth at this moment. You said that if a certain calamity could be averted, you would walk before God with an honest heart. It was averted, and you have never prayed since. Then be careful not to blame Noah, for the severity which injures him slays us. Herein is God more merciful than man, for man would have said, "The bond is broken, and the bow is no longer a pledge." Yet God spared the drunkard and kept the bow as a token in the cloud. Let us say that his mercy endureth forever. Let the house of Aaron say so. Let the house that is your own, yea, let everything that have breath say, his mercy endureth forever. All right, well, that was the end of this section, the new beginning. So next time we will read the next section, which is titled The Fountains of History, and that's Genesis 10, 1 through 5. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you watch again when we continue reading the very large, long People's Bible.